Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. How with the gang we packing? We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoe, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a feet. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas key. You with me, sheesh. But need OG Keith.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Yeah, head up in the clouds, thought they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we come Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody see me? Welcome back to the Can Frankie Candles Not Get Scammed by His Computer show. But guys, Bitcoin trying to get another little drop to the downside here. We were unable to get back inside of our upper volume profile, which is kind of the level we needed to stay above in order to see those local moves continue to the upside. We also have the 4-hour money flow coming back out after failing to cross green. What does this mean, guys? Are we going to fill that full wick? How low can we go? And what are we playing with right now? Because we are now below incredibly important support. So we're going to cover everything on tonight's live stream loud and clear. Shout out to Amina. Let's go, baby. Let's go. We're here, guys. I think I fixed all of the problems that we had with the computer. I had to update some stuff, change some settings. I think we should be good, guys. If I freeze here, you guys will see me smash this PC live on the stream. I'm just kidding. You won't be able to see that because if the computer breaks, that means the camera obviously won't work. But welcome back, guys. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Dizzy Gang in the chat. Said 97K incoming. I'm actually going to talk about that level of support tonight. It would be crazy if we saw that $97,000 level, guys. It was a level that we were looking at recently, and it sounds crazy until you start getting close. So we'll take a look at that. We got X82 in the chat. Shout out to you, man. Welcome in. Said turn it off and on again. Yeah, that is typically the easiest way to fix things. Just unplug it, plug it back in, pull out the Nintendo cartridge, blow into the bottom of it, and you should be good. But let's see here. We got Nick Dunn in the chat. We got Infinite Team TA. What is going on? Said Bitfrog. Bitfrog says we're going to die. And hopefully I can give you guys some peace of mind here, at least knowing where those next levels of support are going to be. But yeah, I'm going to give you guys the raw information as always, and hopefully give you guys those key levels. And shout out to Pepe, says XRP is trash. Says the same thing every day. Shout out to Pepe. Welcome in, brother. Jedi Skirk says the likes. Don't forget to smash that like button, guys. If you appreciate the free content, smash that like button. Let's go for, let's go for like 2,000 or 3,000 likes on tonight's live stream. But shout out to the mods, guys. Show the mods some love in the chat. They're here helping keep the Mafia under control in the chat. Sometimes it gets a little bit crazy, especially when it's dumping. But give the mods some love in the chat. We got H-Bar in the chat, said DCA Heaven. Yeah, shout out to H-Bar. We'll take a look. We'll also take a look at the altcoins as well, guys. Jake said pause. I was thinking the same thing, bro. But with all that being said, let's go ahead. Shout out to Tony Roaz, says 50-week moving average, weekly wick inbound. Yeah, we're going to talk about that, guys, because as we get to some of these lower prices, things are starting to get pretty critical as we have that 50-week moving average underneath us. So we'll cover that on top of everything else. We'll take a look at the local targets, the macro targets, the overall situation, and then we'll take a look at the altcoins. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. All right, here we are. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Shunzin said, if you're stressing out, it means you didn't take profits along the way. Shout out to Shunzin. That is a big telltale sign that you are over leveraged, not taking profits, or not managing the risk. Jesse says, Frankie Candles. Shout out to Jesse, and shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. Darren Does Things may be in here. Shout out to the mods that are currently in the chat, guys. Show them some love. Jesse says, it's Erica's birthday. Yo, shout out to Erica. Happy birthday. One of our elite and rare female CandleMafia members. Shout out to you. Happy birthday. Hopefully you have an amazing day, and we wish you many, 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 many healthy, happy more. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I'm not just saying that. Shout out to Erica. She tunes in all the time. So shout out to Erica. Happy birthday. And hopefully, Erica, we can give you a little bit of a pump for your birthday. But let's go ahead and break down the charts here, guys. So just to do a little recap of kind of how we got to where we are. Well, it all starts here with the initial breakdown of this range. Well, obviously, we got this big, massive wick. We came back, settled price on that value area low. We got a push to the upside where we were looking for some critical levels of resistance, which we just had on the chart right here. We had a local, I actually deleted this golden pocket. Let me see if I can get this back on the chart. We did have the golden pocket. I took it off because it was already tapped. We have the golden pocket sitting here. The first opportunity to put in a potential lower high before coming back to lower prices, indicating we could see a lower low. Now, I know we did not make a lower low on the wick, but the bodies did come down and kind of give us that, high, low, lower low if you ignore the wick. But that was kind of our thought process. We had the golden pocket retracement, again, that first area to look for the lower high, and we also had our 4-hour money flow continuing to cross over into the red there, which makes us think, well, hey, higher probability there is to get a lackluster bounce to the upside, lower high, and then looking for that lower low. And yes, again, I know this is not technically a lower low to the wick, but the bodies did come down there and close. So as we got that rally off of our key level of support down here that we were looking at on Friday, we got that bounce off the 786, which also wound up, this is kind of where we were saying, hey, we got to close that weekly candle above our macro value area high, which was the $108,000 level. Because again, guys, just to foreshadow what I'm about to talk about, we are now back down below this value area high, which you guys know, anytime we lose this, it doesn't mean you can't come back out. But I do not like this, right? We do not want to get accepted into this lower value. I'll bring it up on a higher time frame in just a minute. But we did get that bounce here over the weekend. We did close that weekly candle. We did get the move to the upside with our 4-hour money flow coming up, helping us identify that we were going to look for the continuation of a potential uptrend here for a higher low into our exact key level of support, which again was pretty much the $108,000 value area high. Hit that level perfectly, and then got that higher high to come in here and tap our next biggest level of resistance, which, of course, was the golden pocket here locally, pulled from the high to the low, golden pocket 786. And we did come in here. We rejected the anchor VWAP. We got stuck underneath the 786. And at this point, right, it was okay, in my opinion, to come down here, retest the value area low, or potentially even come down a little bit before putting in a higher low and continuing up to higher prices. The reason I was open to that idea was simply because we did have our 4-hour money flow coming up, hoping that it would cross into the green there. And if we were able to get that crossover into the green, we were hoping for something that similar to what we saw back here, where you can get the drop out, you come back into the volume profile, flip that value area low, money flow crosses green, and you could look for that continuation to the upside. Unfortunately, we did not get the 4-hour money flow crossover into the green. Instead, we got rejected from that zero line. Now, money flow is coming back out pretty aggressively here on the 4-hour. Obviously, not what we wanted to see here. And now we are back down towards this key level of support, which again is that value area high sitting at about $108,000. I'm going to take these Fibonacci levels off the chart real quick for you guys, and just kind of talk about this from a bare bones volume profile perspective. Let me get rid of this dot box. Not the candles. Good Lord. Trolling myself here on the live stream, guys. But here we are, right? We got that rejection from the golden pocket 786. This was, again, another area where we could look for a lower high potentially. But again, that 4-hour money flow did look good yesterday, to be quite honest with you. But of course, it ain't over till you get that actual confirmation. So, but we did know, obviously, this was key resistance. And of course, I am still holding my short from the top here. I'll bring up the trades in just a second. But unfortunately, the level we needed to break above here was obviously stay on top of the value area low. Even if we came down below it, reclaim, right? We had to get above this 786 and anchored VWAP. This was the key level to get on top of in order to get a bigger move up towards that POC at about $117,000 to $118,300. And unfortunately, we are not seeing that play out, guys. It would have been nice to see that 4-hour money flow crossover into the green. And people oftentimes ask me, right, like, is there a way to enter, but like, can you enter before the money flow crosses into the green? And my answer to that is, of course, right? You could always try to front run those kind of signals. And oftentimes, right, it's kind of risk to reward there, right? Like, you can risk trying to enter in a little bit early, assuming that the trend will continue up and cross into the green. But, just like anything, if you enter before you get that actual confirmation, you are at risk, right, of that potentially getting rejected at the 0 line. More often than not, you will get the crossover. But here's a perfect example of, like, you are going to take that little bit of an extra risk. You will get a better entry trying to front run. Maybe you can enter in down here instead of, all the way up here after the crossover. You get a little bit of a better entry at the cost of a little extra risk, right, or a higher risk. But I don't want to say beautiful rejection on money flow, but very clear rejection on the money flow there. Excuse me. Not what we wanted to see. Stuck underneath that 786. This could potentially still be, guys, a lower high before coming back down and breaking down below the lows. And I'll say my overall thought process here on a higher time frame, guys, remains exactly the same. We've had these key levels of resistance on the chart for quite some time based off our daily money flow being in the red, right? We saw this coming up yesterday. People were asking me about that daily money flow, like, hey, daily money flow is coming up, right? And we talk about this as like, this isn't really a massive red wave where you would necessarily expect a fresh crossover into the green. It's been very, very choppy here, and with the VWAP coming to the downside, we were kind of, and I'm still curious here, if that money flow is just going to get rejected, especially with this now fresh red dot printing, which has a little bit of extra bearishness to it, and I'll show you why in just a second. But, of course, these little ebbs or flows to the upside are not really anything to write home about, especially if you have the VWAP crashing on top of it. This could very easily drag us back into a deeper red wave, and the reason I bring up this daily money flow on top of the 2-day money flow, right, obviously attempting to continue to the downside here. I'll be honest, guys, market cipher B is a little bit chopped up right now. Even locally today, super choppy price action. I actually got stopped out of a long position today. But the money flow is generally trending out here, right? Like, if you had to pick a direction here, it is definitely trending down. Yesterday, we were looking at this VWAP coming up. Could this VWAP crossover give us a surprise pump? Potentially, but I would still have to identify this as money flow generally coming out over time. Daily money flow is in the red. We have the 16-hour and the 12-hour doing the same thing as the daily yesterday, where it was trying to come up, but saying the same thing, right? Like, you have those red dots incoming. I would rather wait for this to actually cross over before taking this as a serious signal, because you can see here we did have a pretty decent green wave, right, on our trend to the upside. And then as we see that money flow crossover, it is going to indicate the higher time frame trend could continue to the downside. And this is coming out locally as well. So I'll have to keep an eye on this. I as choppy as money flow has been, I don't know if this is going to scam back to the upside. I just have to take it at face value. And the reason I bring this up is because my overall bias here, guys, with those higher time frame money flows coming out, is any pumps to the upside, we have to be very careful, right? For lackluster pumps, lower highs, lower lows, right? Or even if we came up to some of these higher levels, if we did wind up seeing that 4-hour money flow crossover and we were able to make it up to our next target here between 117 and 118.3, this was still an area where we would have to be careful of lower highs and lower lows. We don't know if the rejection is going to come in here, if it's going to come in here, or maybe even in the most bearish case, you go for that 786 retracement. This is still the area that I would be waiting to break above in order to call for new all-time highs. Kind of been explaining it as like there's nothing really on the charts right now that is screaming for new all-time highs. There's nothing obvious that I'm seeing here that is going to be screaming for all-time highs. As a matter of fact, when we look at that higher time frame money flow, what do you want to see for a massive move up, right? You want to see a red wave about to cross over into the green. What do we have here? Although money flow is not crossing into the red, we pretty much have the opposite, right? Money flow is trending out. This is not necessarily what you want to see for big moves to the upside, but with the absence of those bullish signs and the money flow coming out, we have to be careful for these lower highs to come in. And really the only way that I can call for like, hey, there's going to be a new all-time high is essentially just to see it happen, right? Some kind of shocking pump to the upside that is not pointed out on the charts at all. And then we would essentially just need to see that scam up, right? It's like not one of those things that we can front run, at least based off the technical signals, because simply they're just not there, right? What we do have on the charts is obviously the high time frame bearish divergences on time frames like the weekly, the 2-week, right? We talk about this every day. I won't cover it for a very long time here, right? Like multiple drives of bearish divergence on the weekly, 2-week bearish divergence is also printing, just generally with price creeping up, momentum coming out. That is 100% a divergence. We have the monthly bearish divergence as well. High, high, high. High, lower high, lower high, right? So you just have like price coming up, momentum coming down. And even on the 2-month, we were taking a look at this the other day. Where's it at? The 2-month even printing that red dot here. And if we take a look at the Bitstamp chart and bring up a little bit more price history, you can see we do have a lower high here with a massive higher high. The last time we saw this happen was from the peak of 2017 into the peak of 2021. Higher highs, lower highs, bear market, higher highs, lower highs. I'm not calling the top. I'm not saying the top has to be in right now, as I always say, right? We're going to take an informational level-to-level approach to this. But, the warning signs are there on the higher time frames. Obviously, that's all I'll really cover there because we've been talking about this a lot. That is what we have on the charts, right? It's like if I were looking for a big move down, maybe I would say to myself, well, hey, we got weekly bearish divergences. Weekly money flow is still, fighting to stay in the green here. But again, even with like some of these, lower daily time frames like the 3-day, the 2-day, money flow is starting to come out here. So, the hope here is that these green dots can scam money flow back into the green. But again, I would say there's more on the charts here just from a technical perspective. There is, we even put these bearish divergences into our second bull market target for this cycle, right? So like we're getting bearish divergences into resistance, right? We have to anticipate some kind of a move down. Again, if I had massive bullish divergences, I would be calling for that or talking about it. But unfortunately, I guess you could argue maybe you have a little bit of a bullish divergence right here. But again, money flow is going against you. So in order for that all-time high to come in, right, like I'm kind of like we just need to see it happen. Like that's where I'm going to be like, okay, well, that kind of invalidates all those. We have to let the technicals on the chart right now get invalidated essentially by a new all-time high because there's just nothing down here screaming that we're going for an all-time high, at least just yet. So that brings us down to the next key levels, right? Well, Frank, if we're down below this value area high, what do we need to see in order to get this to look a little bit better? In my personal opinion, guys, as long as we remain below this value area high. And again, it's been very choppy, especially today, right? Like just recently, we've been, back above it, back below it, back below, back above, back below. So like maybe we chop around here a little bit. This is a absolutely critical level of support, guys. I know I bring it up every single day, but this is also, you have the golden pocket from the low to the high here in confluence with that value area high. You would hope that you could stay inside of this golden pocket, get back up, flip this to support. But until, as long as we remain below here, it's like we got to break out of this level. Like this is an important high time frame level of resistance because, of course, if we get accepted into this larger volume profile, this is what opens up that door to the much, much more aggressive moves down, potentially targeting the POC around $97,000 to $96,000. So, again, I know I've been talking about this for weeks, but we just kind of been dealing with the same level time and time again, right? And I just want to show the importance of that, right? We do not want to get accepted into this range, plain and simple. And right now, we're kind of just bing-bonging around between our major value down here and our major value up here. We're kind of just chopping in the middle. But when we look at that money flow, if we do continue down, the last level that I would be looking at with it locally would be the 786 Fibonacci retracement here, coming in at about $105,700. If we wind up losing this 786, guys, let me unlock this. I accidentally locked this before. If we break down below that 786, guys, like the hope here is like, hey, you have the low, the high. Hopefully you can, try to hold this, get back on top of that value area high. And then again, the plan remains the same on the way up. You got to flip that value area low to support with money flow coming up. But, I am just a little bit suspicious here. If we lose that 786, guys, I think the next stop is going to be around $102,000 where we have our daily naked points of controls. Let me pull these up real quick. 2 daily MPOCs, we have a weekly MPOC, and we also, I believe, have a weekly horizontal level in there between about 102,000, really from the bottom of this wick. We've been talking about the possibility of coming down and eventually filling this wick. The next significant level of horizontal support is going to be coming in here in that 102 to about 100,000, right, or 100,900. So I'm going to go ahead and mark this off as a key level because this is going to be a very big macro level of support. I'll kind of just make it a zone like this. So if we do have to go down and fill that wick, the one nice thing is we do have MPOCs here. You have 2 daily MPOCs, you have the weekly MPOC, and you have the weekly horizontal. And on top of this, guys, we do have the 50-week moving average coming up in there as well. So let me go ahead and pull up that indicator again. I'm actually going to favorite this. Believe it's this one. I think it's this one, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and favorite that so I don't have to keep looking for it. And let me go ahead and take this, take this, take this, take this, take this, and then we'll turn this bright yellow. And the reason I like this one is because I don't have to be on the weekly to see where this is sitting, right? This actually is the 50-week moving average just shown on a lower time frame. And you can see that 50-week moving average is coming right up in there as well. Massive, massive key level of support here, guys. This 50-week moving average, if lost, guys, is a huge, huge, huge sign of weakness. Specifically, if we get multiple weekly candle closes below that, it is definitely going to be looking a lot more bearish for Bitcoin. But nonetheless, we'll be looking for bounces here. We have some setups that we're looking for to potentially potentially set up down here on this level for a bounce back to the upside. But as I've been saying, guys, especially because at that point, we are going to be deeper into this profile below the value area high. I do have to view that as, lackluster bounces for potential lower highs and lower lows until proven otherwise, right? Like I want to sit here and say, hey guys, if we hit this key level, that's it. Wash out the wick, tap the 50-week and send it to higher prices. Is it possible? Yes, but I really need to see what the money flow looks like down there. And if I had to front run it, we have to look at this 2-day, right? If we get this big drop down, what is this 2-day money flow probably going to do? It's probably going to continue out. And if that is the case and we get the bounce here, I'm going to have to view that as, day trades or scalps until proven otherwise. Maybe it turns into a big swing trade because it's a high time frame level of support. Even the last times we've come down to hit the 50-week moving average, it did offer some significant swing long opportunities. However, totally different part of the cycle here. Money flow after we started getting the push to the upside. Even on the daily, we had massive bullish divergences. We took a look at this as the price action was developing live. You have the massive bullish divergences. You tap into the 50-week moving average. Money flow winds up coming. It was in a big red wave. It crosses into the green. There are reasons to look for new all-time highs at that point. But down here, it's probably going to look a lot different, right? Even if we get the bull divs, we're going to have money flow coming out, potentially indicating lower highs and lower lows. And that is going to be more on a macro time frame, calling for a much bigger move. And if we lose that 102, if that is the case, right, if we do come down here, we get the bounces, lackluster bounces, lower highs, we can't break out of that value area high, we get the lower high and the lower lows, that is where the $97,000 or $96,000 to $97,000 POC comes in. And, of course, we will be looking for trades there. Again, possibility of turning those into swing trades, but I have to be very careful, guys. When I'm looking for like big swing trades, they're not oftentimes on these levels. I'd rather come down to the value area low. And again, it has a lot to do with the fact of where we are in the cycle. Once we're down here, guys, I'll be honest, depending on how fast this happens, how long it takes, I have to assume if we get down here to $91,000 to $92,000, yes, we have a CME gap down there. Yes, we have a daily MPOC. Yes, we have golden pocket confluence down here. There's a lot of support, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be a macro high or low. It could give us a bounce. But again, if that money, I would have to say if we get a drop down to this $92,000 to $90,000 level, at that point, right, 2-day money flow is probably almost certainly in the red. 3-day money flow is probably crossing into the red, and even the weekly is probably working its way down there. So again, we'll approach that situation if and when we have to look there. But I just try to front run this, right? If I had to anticipate what money flow looks like down there, it's going to look very similar to the same example I show almost every single live stream, which is essentially this golden pocket 786 that we had was like, oh, hey, you got a nice golden pocket 786, higher low, higher high, right? Well, look at your money flow coming into the red on the weekly, or at least coming out aggressively on the weekly, and then even time frames like the 3-day. Come on. 3-day money flow was already crossed back into the red over here, kind of played out in the red, played back out into the green, then we get the next crossover into the red. You get the continuation down. 2-day money flow obviously had crossed into the red much sooner than that. So you have to assume, right, if you come back down there, all this money flow is going to be in the red, which is just a more bearish outlook for me personally. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. If there's some kind of massive bullish sign, we'll see it, and I'll be the first person to bring it up to you guys. But right now, locally, let me hide some of this stuff so we don't have a super crowded chart. Take off those daily MPOCs, take off the resistance, we'll take off that main range. So right now, I would say like the next key level, number one to get above is the $108,000 value area high, but the next key level of support is going to be sitting down here on the 786. We lose this, guys, I'm looking down to that bigger swing zone down here. Other than that, guys, super choppy day for Bitcoin, just wiggling sideways. It's absolutely insane. This might be like one of the record small ranges, right? It's just like for the past couple days, just like boop, 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 right? Just the smallest choppy range ever. So kind of not the best trading, to be quite honest with you. But let me come into the chat. Let's see. Shout out to Andrew Sawyer, said, Frankie, SOS, Bitcoin's out here stumbling like a wasted teen at a rave, making bad decisions and crashing into everything. Shout out to Andrew Sawyer. Yeah. Just jumping off the balconies right now. Insane. Everybody buy, keep the price up. Everybody 1,000x long with your entire account. Let's pump this thing back up. But guys, locally, even this price action is just like, I don't even really have a clean range to look at. Like even if I were to pull this as some kind of a volume profile, you pull to the current price action, it's like, we could potentially look at this range. It's quite wonky in my opinion. This is just garbage price action. So it's just really hard. If we had a cleaner range here, I'd be more willing to pay attention to it. But if we just look at this, it's like we're fighting at this value area low. Maybe if we get above the POC, we can get that scam to the upside. One thing to note here is we do have a pretty big fall off in volume locally. You have this nice high volume node down here. Price obviously sticks to these prices on these high volume nodes. These are like magnets for price. And then once you break through into these low volume gaps, there's obviously not a lot holding you up or down. So once you break into those low volume gaps, you typically get fast moves, fast move down, fast move up, fast move down, and then price sticks onto those high volume nodes. So if we were to get some kind of like random scam to the upside, I would say at least we got to start getting above this shelf of volume. And to be quite honest, like to really break into that low volume, we got to crack above these highs, right? We had the anchored VWAP pulled from the high. Let me pull that up real quick. I think I have it somewhere here. Is it this one? Let me see. Put up on a higher time frame here. $15-minute. Yeah, we have this anchored VWAP here. I was actually looking at a different anchored VWAP. Let me pull this chart up over here for a second. Where's that dang anchored VWAP? Never mind. I don't know where that anchor VWAP was, but pretty much the same level here. It's not far off, right? Pulled from the most recent high, right? Like this does come in pretty close to those highs. It's almost perfectly confluent, right? So like we really got to crack above these highs. Maybe we could push into that low volume gap for a push up. So we could look at this as a local range. I'm not necessarily going to put a ton of weight on this, but in this wonky price action, guys, sometimes you got to deal with what you are given. So I'll just mark this out as some local levels. You have your value area high, you have your POC, you have your value area low. And again, it's really not until we start cracking above those highs where I would say, hey, let's start sending this thing for a quick move into that value area high at about $110,852. So those are some local levels you can look at. You can grab these to get them on your chart if you do so, please. And then another range that I have been looking at here, guys, this is a super, super old range that we have not looked at in quite some time. Somebody actually asked me to bring it up on the live stream last night, which is why it actually came to my attention. But if we pull up our lower range here, this is another range that we can look at. This has been, this was back when we got our initial breakout. This was part of the local range that we were looking at. Hey, if we push down into this local POC, golden pocket, anchored VWAP confluence, you can't see the anchored VWAP right now, but it was here, right? This would be a major key level to hold. For another bounce to the upside, we were able to hold that range high and continue up. And at this point, guys, we are back down. Big liquidation wick, kind of held up on the value area low. We get back above it. Once you break back in, you go to the POC, back to the value area low. You then bounce off the value area low, back into the POC, back into the high, try to escape, and now we're back in here. So for the move to the downside, right, again, if I pull that Fibonacci retracement from the low to the high, you can see that 786 is right on this level as well. I would say this is probably the most legit range to look at. I like this one better than the upper range. So if we do continue down, you could just look at this as a volume profile. If we lose this golden pocket POC, well, if you lose the golden pocket, you're going to be looking down towards what? The 786 sitting right here. If you lose the POC, where you're going to be looking down to, the value area low, which are both confluent. And this is kind of the last level to bounce off of, in my opinion, guys, before looking down towards that $102,000 key high time frame level of support. So that's what I'm going to be looking at. I'll keep an eye on this range. And to be honest, guys, just super choppy. I don't really have a ton of confidence other than like even the 8-hour money flow crossing into the red. My overall bias remains the same, being very careful on the pumps and continuing to hold my short positions, right? I am still holding my short here on VMEX, still up $3,200, got about 34 locked in. This is the short from almost the top. Entry at about $123,832. So continuing to hold this. My stop loss is sitting right above this high in profit. So I'm looking to either get stopped out of this in profit and maybe we could scam to new all-time highs, or we're going to continue down. This is going to continue to pay us out. Very, very simple. I'm also holding another short position on another account. I don't think I have that one up right now, but I am holding another short position. Not as high of an entry. Entry was down, I think, over here on this retracement. 111,850, I think, is my entry there. So I am holding another short from this lower high. So we'll see. The shorts are going to continue to pay us out, or we're going to stop out and profit on the shorts and get some kind of a scam to the upside. I already tried to take a long down here and got stopped out earlier today, letting the Mafia know, like, hey, guys, I'm out. This looks choppy. I'm just going to sit on my hands. And then we wiggled around a little bit more, came right back up, came right back down, came right back up, and then we lost the range. And I was like, all right, made the right call there, made the right call. But let me come on into chat and see what you guys are thinking. Shout out to Avagon. I don't know how to say your name, brother, but he says, Frankie, thank you for the update. Guys, patience is key. Don't chase green candles. If you're super stressed right now, think about rotating out of your alt moonshots and stay in the top 10 or top 20 max. Shout out to Avagon. I agree with that, man. I obviously you're going to have a little bit less risk holding in the higher market cap coins. And patience is absolutely key, guys. I even talked about, I think it was 2 days ago on the live stream, whenever we were up here. When was this? On Monday, right? So letting everybody know, right? Like every time we get a pump, oftentimes people just get super, super bullish, right? It's like, oh my God, we're pumping. That must be bullish, right? And although we were looking for the drop down for the higher low and the higher high, so you could argue that we were bullish here, and we did come up to make a new high, but this is just never an area I'm looking to take a trade, right? I am never going to be chasing these green candles like Avagon said, if that's how you say his name, but, never chasing these green candles, and I actually talked about that. It's like, could we continue up from here? Maybe, right? But it just doesn't mean that I have to take a trade there. I would rather wait for the correction, for the pullback into our key levels, which again, that $108,000 value area high with that 4-hour money flow, which was trending up at the time, looking for that higher low and the higher high. And sometimes you don't get those pullbacks. Sometimes you miss the long position. It's no big deal. But we wound up getting the pullback, and we wound up getting that push higher. So it just goes to show, like, even on the lower time frame trades, like, you don't want to be chasing the green candles, right? For me, I got stopped out of a long position that I took down here, which was quite annoying because that would have been a pretty nice trade. But I wound up getting stopped out by a few ticks there, and we continued up. So imagine this, right? Like, you get stopped out of a position where you wanted to go long, price is going in your direction that you thought it was going to go in, and you're still not FOMOing in up there. It takes a lot of self-discipline. It takes a lot of self-control, and it takes a lot of sitting on your hands. I actually have nerve damage in my hands from sitting on them so much. But more often than not, you are going to wind up being happy with that decision, right? But we did come up, make the higher high, and now we're just right back down here, guys. Like, just not what we wanted to see yesterday, to be quite honest, especially with our money flow coming back out. So my medium-term bias still remains the same, guys. I really, really do hope, right? And even when we look at this from a typical simple range perspective, we talked about how, like, these lows are going to be massive, massive resistance. And if we pull that volume profile, it kind of just gives you an idea of, like, where those lows are sitting. This is the level to get above, guys. Like $112,000, essentially, depending on where you pull this range from. Like, when you build up volume up here, right, support will then become major resistance. And we are now rejecting that currently with money flow coming out. And I don't like to call for it, right? I mean, I'm in the short positions, right? So I'm not going to hate if we get the drop to the downside. But, this is how we keep that overall bias, right? So, yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now on Bitcoin, guys. So watch the 786 once again. These are the key levels you need on your chart right now. Wrap me out. Pulls from the wrong low. 786 sitting right here, 105,700. We wind up losing that. Remember, you will also be getting very close to losing your range low here. Once you start once you start breaking down out of this range, guys, I am expecting lower prices. Hopefully, we can get some kind of a deviation, some kind of a long back into the profile. But again, money flow would still be pointing towards lower highs and lower lows. I hate to say it. Those are like my least favorite words to say. But it is what is looking like it's setting up on the charts here. So hopefully we scam up. Again, just like yesterday, I pray that I'm wrong about all this, and I hope we come up. It's very rare you'll see somebody on YouTube say, I hope I'm wrong. I'm never going to stick to my biases religiously just to be right. But, I'm just here bringing the information on the charts. Don't shoot the messenger, guys. I want Bitcoin to go up just as much as the next guy. But let me take a sip of this Aztecian Cactus Black Coffee here. Shout out to Mike said, is there anything bullish on the chart for other than just maybe a scam? Yeah. Shout out to Mike. If I had to find something. Oh, God, that's hot. If I had to look at something, right, to be honest, like, there are more bearish signs than bullish signs. I have to say that, right? And, like, if I could just bring it up really simply and try to keep it, like, nice and simple here. Again, massive high time frame bearish divergences, right? Like, these are all the same signals that we saw back here in 2021. And before I go over this, guys, This is not me guaranteeing that the top is in. This is not me calling the top. Honestly, I don't know if there's enough information in either direction to make a confident call either way. And I reserve the right to just not have to call for up or down, right? Because I think this is like a big thing. Everyone just wants to hear up or down, but sometimes there's no way to have a higher probability call. When there is, we call for it, right? Down here, way higher probability that we put in a new all-time high. Down here, super way higher probability that we put in a new all-time high. But with where we are in the cycle, as we bring up every day, getting late here in the 4-year cycle, if that's what you want to follow, right? Like really, this is very similar to 2021. Timing-wise, I would say timing-wise, we are more somewhere like up in here somewhere, right? Big liquidation wick. Not trying to compare it exactly, but like just from a timing perspective, we are somewhere in here, right? Not the best look. But we do still, I guess like the bullish case here is that, I guess your weekly money flow is still somewhat, healthily in the green, right? Money flow is not aggressively trending out on the weekly just yet. I'm going to be honest, guys. I'm like kind of grasping at straws here. Money flow is not aggressively coming out. So that's somewhat, that's good for the bulls. And then if you look at some of these higher time frames, we have some of these higher time frame, higher daily time frame VWAPs coming up to give us green dots. But again, when you have a green dot, going against money flow, even if it's a bullish divergence, right? If you have money flow coming out, right, and you have a green dot, what do we look at that green dot as? We look at it as, hey, there's a green dot on the 3-day. Maybe we can get a push to the upside. Sure. But the green and red dots indicate the ebbs and flows in the markets. The ups, the downs, 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 right? Money flow indicates the overall trend. So when we look at this, it's like I could say that 3-day green dot and even the 2-day green dot, which was looking a lot better yesterday. Now it has been rejected slightly here. Even if we get this green dot on the 2-day, right? Well, I could say, hey, we have a green dot. Maybe that gives me an ever flow to the upside, but money flow is still going to indicate the overall trend, right? The longer term trend. So, I could say we have some high time frame green dots looking to print. That would be like medium term bullish. And then on those green dots, if we can get money flow to scam back up, that would be good. But again, you're kind of just fighting the indicator there. So you got high time frame green dots. Weekly money flow is not looking super horrible just yet, but let me bring this up. When you look at the weekly money flow, where are we sitting right now? We are sitting at about 24 on the oscillator, right? So we're sitting at about a 24 on the money flow in the green. If we come back over to 2021, right, you can see this weekly money flow didn't come out until we had already gotten a really significant drop from the high, right? This was a 51% drop from the high, from the top to the low here. That is where money flow really starts to come out. But if we come back over to kind of where I was explaining that we're kind of sitting in the cycle, right, somewhere around here, look at what your money flow is looking like. It's kind of like, if we go into bar replay mode, just to get a clean look at like what that was like, right? It's like money flow is still, it's trending out, but it's not like aggressively trending out. It kind of looks similar to the money flow we have right now. So it's like even that weekly money flow being in the green, sure, I guess at the point for the bulls, you're still still thick in the green, but we might not be at that point. Even this, right? Like what was this drop? This was a 41% drop. We have not seen that yet, right? Like what are we at on our current price action right now? From the high to the low here, we're at about 19%. So, arguably you could even maybe come back a little bit further. It's not going to line up perfectly, right? But like, let's just say, all right, let's go back to this candle, right? What did money flow look like right there? It's the problem when you're looking at these indicators, right, or anything, right? It's like that stuff. You're like, look, it's like this money flow. Sure, it's trending out over time. I would definitely be calling for that, but you're still thick in the green, right? Like you really need the big drop down to actually get that high time frame money flow to get an aggressive drop to the downside, right? I always explain the high time frame money flow is kind of like a cruise ship, right? The low time frames are like speedboats. Money flow will oscillate very quickly. It can make sharp turns. But on a higher time frame, right, it's like a cruise ship. You have to like make a very, 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 very slow turn. So they move very slowly. So you could see here, you could have been arguing here like, hey, money flow's still thick in the green on the weekly. It's not looking that bad. Very similar to what we have right now. So these are all things that run through my head. It's like when I'm looking for the bullish signs, right? And like I just have to be careful that I'm not just like grasping at straws, which I feel like I'm doing right now for the bullish case. It's like, oh, hey, money flow's coming up. Like this looks pretty good, right? But it's like, well, hey, if we get another 40% drop, if we get a 40% drop to the downside, let's say I mean, oh, good Lord. I mean, that's going to be super bearish at that point. But, you know, if you get another big drop to the downside, this money flow is going to eventually start coming out. So we just need more time to develop here. We need more price action. We need more information. We need the oscillators to clean up before I can, like, really call confidently. But, you know, the warning signs are there, guys. It doesn't mean that they have to play out. But, again, timing perspective, you know, and then a lot of people say, but this time is different, right? What about money printing? What about an extended cycle? Everybody's talking about those extended cycles. And I do think there's an argument. I think like your best bullish case there is to hope at this point that this time is different. And that is a very dangerous thing, right? Anybody thinking this time was different any other time back here, you know, back in 2017, anyone thinking, oh, this time is different, right? They always wind up getting slapped. But I would argue that in this cycle, there is a better chance of it being different than any other cycle. It doesn't mean it's guaranteed. It's still not my base case. But when I try to find these bullish scenarios, right, you know, maybe it is that we wind up getting money printing in maybe 2026, or, you know, we'll see what happens at the Fed meeting. But, you know, if they do cause that, if they do start printing money aggressively, this is very likely going to cause a melt up in the stock market, which obviously, guys, at that point, I would not be holding on to the 4-year cycle if the stock market is melting up, because we all know that Bitcoin follows the traditional markets. I've been saying this since I started my channel, right? Bitcoin simply follows the traditional markets. And of course, you are betting on this time being different if you're hoping for that. But at the end of the day, guys, if they start aggressively printing money, that might be where we're able to see that pump come in. And if that happens in mid-2026, I think if they start printing money in mid-2026 and we get a melt up in the stock market, we're not just going to look at Bitcoin and be like, well, it's not in the 4-year cycle, so it's not going to follow, right? I would just say it's probably going to follow the stock market. I do this almost every day recently, pulling up the SPY on our, did I break it? I think I broke it. Pulling up the SPY over Bitcoin, right? Like very clearly these mirror each other. I did this yesterday, right? C19 dump. Whoops, let me just line it up a little better for you, right? C19 dump, SPY dumps, right? Bull market. They both top out very close to each other. Bear market, right? These are obviously following each other, right? So if we were to see the 4-year cycle break, right, we would really need money printing, right? If we got money printing, I would say, hey, if we're getting a melt up in the stock market, Bitcoin can follow. But again, it's a very difficult thing to just like rely on. So it is something in the back of my head. I do think there's an argument for that. But again, I just don't think there's enough information on the chart for me to like confidently say that like for sure the top is in, right? And I don't necessarily even want to be that guy. But you know, even back here in 2021, right? Like when I was saying that the top is very likely in, was it up here? No, right? It's very hard to say, oh, that's it, that's the top, right? We could say, hey, there's a massive weekly bearish divergence. There's massive monthly bearish divergence. We could definitely get a big dump to the downside. But it's not until we got that big drop down where I can then look at the chart and say, hey, now our weekly money flow is coming out very aggressively. We're below the 50-week moving average. We're also below the bull market support band, right? So at that point, you would have multiple weekly candle closures below the 50-week. You have money flow already in the red on almost every other higher daily time frame, and then your weekly money flow is coming out very aggressively. This weekly money flow every single time has indicated the bear market. Bear market, right? And it's not going to let you know at the top, right? It's just letting you know that, like, hey, if this money flow is crossing into the red, right? Are you going to be looking for a massive bounce into new all-time highs? Probably not. What are you going to look for? You're going to look for lower highs and lower lows, which I just came off the chart. All right, you're going to be looking for lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. So definitely getting into the sketchy area here. I'm not going to lie. So again, you know, now we're back down below $108,000. I've been saying, you know, as long as we can remain above $108,000, the doorway to new all-time highs can still technically be open from a technical standpoint. And, you know, it's not over, right, until the fat candles close, but, you know, we're now back below this major level of resistance, right? So if we can't get back out of here and we start grinding down, like, this is really where I have to start entertaining the much more bearish case. So the bullish case is like, hopefully this time is different. Again, not my base case. And then I guess you could say that your weekly money flow is in the still thick in the green, but hopefully showing you back and forth between now and 2021 that, it's usually not until you get the bigger drop down and then on those retracements you have money flow coming out. It's usually not until then that you can say like, hey, this is looking like the top, or looking like the top is in, right? Obviously that's not the top. This is the top. So that's my general thought process, guys. And again, as we get the new information, maybe I'll come up here tomorrow and be like, oh my God, all this has changed. We have new signals, right? And I don't expect that. But once those signals pop up, guys, I don't only have my eyes set on bearish confirmations. I just have my eyes set on what's on the chart, and there are just more bearish signs. So yeah, I know it's like, yeah, like I should look at the daily, right? It's like a massive daily bullish divergence. No, we just don't have it, right? Now on top of this, right? On top of the daily money flow coming out, the 2-day money flow coming out, the 4-hour money flow coming back out, we now have a fresh red dot on the daily. Now, this is not really that fun because if we come on over to the 90-minute money flow, you can see our 90-minute money flow has crossed over into the red as well. This is a market cipher B 1/16th bearish setup, which could indicate that our trend is going to continue down. Now, like I said, in this crazy chop, guys, this price action's insane. I was even saying to the premium Discord, it's like, what the heck is even this price action? We come up, right? Like yesterday was a pretty crazy move, right? It was looking really nice, especially with the money flow coming up on the 4-hour, right? And then it just gets totally eaten back up, and we get back down below that value area high. So it's like, maybe the indicators fake out, right? Like it's just very choppy and hard to read here. Even the money flow is just super choppy here. So I'm just playing it level to level. If we lose that 786, I'm going to let the shorts continue to pay out, and then once we get down here, we'll start looking for some potential bounces. But from a long-term perspective, we're hoping test the 50-week moving average, and then maybe we can start that bigger move to the upside into new all-time highs. If, regardless of the chart, right, I personally think, the questions I'm asking myself is either, is the top in, right? And you guys will understand that I don't look at this on every single top, right? I was not looking at this being the all-time high. I was not looking at this being the all-time high either. But with where we are in the cycle, with the bearish confirmations, I have to start questioning this. And the two questions I ask myself is either, is the high in, or best case scenario, right? Well, best case scenario is the cycle extends. But, personally, for me, I would rather the cycles just remain the same. Obviously, the market's not going to give me what I want. The market's going to do what it does. If I had a preference, I would say I just want the cycles to stay the same, right? It's very nice to say, like, even on this bear market, guys, I'm like talking to my dad. If you guys don't know, my dad's a trader as well. He trades stocks. Now he trades crypto. And when it came down to the bear market, I was like talking to my dad, and I'm just like, yeah, 4-year cycle, blah, blah, blah. We're looking for weekly bullish divergences, whatever, for the bottom to come in. And I'm just like, it really would be funny, man, if we're accumulating down here and we get that big push to the upside and we come into the bull market. It's like the 4-year cycle would just play out very similarly, right? We were using the 4-year cycle to accumulate down here, not alone, but it had a big reason, right? It's like, well, hey, if the cycle repeats, this would be the accumulation area. And, it just played out perfectly. And I would just love to be able to do that again, right? Come up into new all-time highs, get the traditional bear market to come in, maybe 75% drop, start to accumulate, run it back into the next bull market. I prefer that. It's easier to stick to, but of course, the market is not going to give you what you want. It's going to do what it wants to do. But my question is the top in, or maybe Q4 is not over? Every top has come in on Bitcoin, guys. Every major bull market top has come in Q4. This was Q4. Got to go back to the Bitstamp chart for more price action, right? So 2017, Q4, all the way back here, Q4, right? So every top is coming on Q4 when it comes to looking at the bull markets. So Q4 is not over yet, right? So maybe we can, even if we get the bigger correction, test that 50-week moving average, we hold on top of it, and then we can get that bigger scam to the upside and put one last blow off top in. Hopefully the altcoins can follow that, right, before finally putting in the top, and then, go into the bear market. And then that could still keep the cycle somewhat intact, in my opinion. But that's kind of my two base cases, right? So either the top is in here, right? We won't know that until we get more development on price, or we're going to get a big bounce, put in one more all-time high, see the altcoins run, and then we wind up going into traditional bear market. The only other way to look for new all-time highs there is to pretty much expect that the cycle is going to extend, which I do hope. I just can't predict if and when they're going to I can't predict if, obviously. I can say it's very likely, though, but they have to print money, right? But for me to say when that's going to happen is very difficult. All right, let's see here. Shout out to Crypto Knight, said, think about the money that just came out of gold. I'm not worried. Shout out to Crypto Knight. Yeah, maybe we get some of that to funnel into Bitcoin. That would be very nice. Definitely possible. Shout out to One with Nature said, "Don't be a bear fluffer, not yet." I to be clear, guys, my personal bias is my personal want is price to go up, right? I have no reason to want price to go down other than my short positions, but this short position is so much. I would much rather have my spot bags pumped, trust me. So, I'm never going to come up here. A lot of people will get mad that like, oh my God, this guy's a bear. I'm a trader, right? If I think price is going to go down, not only do I want to make sure I handle my spot bags correctly, but I also want to be able to capitalize on those moves to the downside. We make money whether price goes up or down. When this bear market comes, whenever it comes, whether it's when we expect it based off the 4-year cycle or we get the extended cycle, eventually we will see another bear market. That's just another bull market for us, right? We can't make money on our spot bags, but we're going to short that thing all the way down. And to be quite honest, right, if my short continues to pay out here, I am short right now almost. Where's that short position? Right, my short position right now is pretty much from the all-time high. So, again, even then, right, would I love to have this short from the actual high and be able to look back when we come back down to much lower price and be like, I'm literally short from the all-time high. Yeah, that'd be great, right? But I'm not going to have any emotional bias for that, right? If I see it flipping bullish, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to want to flip long and send it back up. So I have no emotional, I have no reason to want lower prices, again, other than like the small gain that I can get on the short. But, for me personally, guys, like I want price to go up as much as anybody else. But again, this is why I say, like, if I had massive bullish divergences or something to look at and the chart was very bullish, right, I would just be up here saying something different because it's what's on the chart, right? It's not really my opinion. Now, whether the TA plays out or not is another story. Plays out way more often than it doesn't. But for me, it's like, I'm just going to say what's on the chart. There were massive bull divs down here, massive, signs of a massive rip to the upside. I would just be looking at that because I'd have no other option. I can't say, hey, I can't say what's not on the chart because it wouldn't make any sense. If I was like, hey, guys, massive bullish divergence here. We have higher lows on our momentum waves and lower lows on price, and we don't have that, right? It just makes no sense. So I'm just bringing the information, and I pray, right, that it is all wrong and we could just scam up. I would absolutely love that. I bet you catch the new all-time high. Shout out to One with Nature. I hope so, bro. I hope so. I mean, honestly, not gonna lie, I don't say this to brag at all, right? I got stopped out today, guys. Just like, I have no ego when it comes to trading, right? Like, trading doesn't care about your ego. As a matter of fact, the more ego you have, probably the worse you will do trading because you're not gonna want to accept that you're wrong. And one of the best things to do as a trader is kill your ego. You're gonna be wrong. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how fire your TA is or your setups are. You can be doing it for 8-9 years like I have, and you're still gonna be wrong. I got stopped out today. But I will also point out, I hope I catch another all-time high. Very likely, we'll be one of the few people looking for shorts up there. But we also caught a short up here from this all-time high. We've shorted almost every single all-time high. I shorted here at about $102,000, almost catching that high. We rode it all the way down. We caught this short position up here at about 121K. All the way back down. We caught the longs all the way back up, and now we're catching the short all the way back down. And I don't catch every move, right? It's not, it just happens to be that the recent all-time highs, I've gotten a short from every single one of them. So hopefully we can continue to do that. And of course, we'll be giving you guys the key levels up there to look for and what I'll be personally watching for in order to look for those rejections. So hopefully we can catch it if we get another push up. Shout out to Crypto Knight says, today was fair. All week, I would give any trader a stop out pass. Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Crypto Knight. I get stopped out even not in this choppy price action, but this price action is rough, guys. Let's just be honest. You go down to the lower time frames. This is just. I was looking at I think it was the 80-minute. Like what is this? This is just muck, absolute muck. But yeah, even on good setups, to be quite honest, right? Like I had my entry down here, I got stopped out. Long the 786, we wicked a little further than I wanted. I got stopped out. It wound up playing in my direction anyway. So you're gonna lose. The real key is managing the risk, right? If you're not getting totally wrecked on your stop outs or you're not getting liquidated, it's totally fine, right? Risk management is gonna trump your win rate every single time. That's why I don't really take it personal when I take a loss. Are we at support on ETH? I will take a look at ETH in just a second. Let's see. The monthly BTC chart has a bearish divergence and prior all-time highs with the next cycle. Will the next cycle be a lower high? I would not expect the next cycle to be a lower high ever. I am a firm believer that long-term, guys, Bitcoin will continue pushing to the upside, right? And don't get it twisted. I'll just get you guys. You could say this. Frankie Candles warned me about this when we were all the way in the bull market. When we go into a bear market, guys, they are going to be calling for zero. They are going to be calling for, this is the worst bear market ever. They're going to be saying the same thing that they'll be saying if they're, when people call for, every time someone says this time is different, they do it in the bear case and the bull case. Oh my God, 100K, we don't get anywhere close. Oh my God, we're going to 3K, didn't get anywhere close, right? And that's why I always say, the charts are the truth, guys. Like, I'm never going to sit here, even if I have a level down there, I'm never going to be like, it has to go to 9K, it has to go to 9K, right? If I see those signals, I'm going to take the trades. I'm going to, buy spot, sell spot, whatever it is. But in the next bear market, guys, I don't, people are going to say this time is different. If I had to guess what they'd be saying, it's going to be like, well, institutions are going to start capitulating. This is going to cause the biggest drop. Please hold. I just got attacked by my lights, guys. That was crazy. But what are they going to be saying? Oh my God, we have institutions in now. It's going to capitulate. It's going to go down lower. It's never coming back. It's going to cause the biggest liquidation wick. It's going to zero. I bet you, if I had to guess right now, maybe there's a new thing, right? Maybe there's a new narrative there. But if I had to guess, right, in the next bear market, they're probably calling, oh my God, institutional capitulation is going to zero, right? And just like they were saying here, regulation, you guys don't understand, this time is different. The regulation is going to kill crypto. Exchanges are going down. This is the worst it's ever been. And guess what? We never went to 3K. So there's always going to be those narratives. I never trade the narratives, right? Now, you can argue, right, like, oh my God, we have the ETFs. Is that bullish? Yes. Did we get a continuation up? Absolutely. But I'm never going to be trading based off that, right? Let's see. Paranormal activity. Yeah, yo, shout out to Ali or Ali. Yeah, they don't want me. They don't want me saying this stuff, guys. They're trying to silence us. 48K incoming. Yikes. Shout out to R8 said, Frankie, how do we draw the future volume profiles like if it dropped below the value area low? Where is next? How to pull that volume profile on a blank space. Shout out to RH. If you check the beginner series, I have a bunch of tutorials on the volume profiles, exactly how to use them, how to pull them, and more importantly, how to trade them. But that range, if you're curious just where I'm getting that level from, because I know sometimes it could just seem like, why is there always a magical volume profile? Well, very simply put, I think you're talking about this range right here. I'm actually going to pull it up on this chart. Lower VP2. I think this is what you're talking about, right? If we wind up losing this value area low, where would I get that next volume profile from? Well, you just have to look left and find that next area of balance, or AKA range. So like if you lose this volume profile, which we obviously have marked out, this is what we were trading recently, right? Caught the short from here, the long from here, the short from here, short from here, long from here, right? The way we trade these volume profiles are shorts at the highs, right? Looking for shorts at the highs, longs at the lows in anticipation of the fulfill of those volume profiles. But once you lose this range, it's like, well, hey, where's price going to go? It's probably going to get accepted into the previous area of balance, which is just coming from this little range here. So if I had a clean chart, the way I would kind of draw that out would just be like this. Well, hey, I got up, down, up, down, up, like down, up, down, up, down, up, down, right? Well, this is an area of balance, right? So I would mark that out as volume profile, and then just underneath that, I have up, down, up, mark out that value area as well. So that's, if you watch the tutorial, there's much more information on exactly how to do it, but that's just essentially where it's coming from. I just mark out these ranges and the areas where I see balanced price. So there you go. But real quick, I do want to take a look at Ethereum, guys. Shout out to SJ, says, will altcoins all die if there is no alt season? Seems like it's going there. Shout out to SJ. I mean, listen, if there is no alt season, obviously we would expect major crashes on altcoins. I don't know which ones would eventually come back in the next alt season. We've seen like weird things happen in the market too, where like altcoins get this random little short-term rally. But yeah, I mean, I would expect if Bitcoin is absolutely nuking to the downside, we would expect everything to follow for the most part. Let's see. Shout out to Perry, said, Frankie, did you take profits on any of your coins or altcoins? Shout out to Perry. I have only taken profits on Bitcoin so far. Most of my other altcoins are either at break even. I have a couple that are Ethereum, Solana, XRP are massively in profit. So yeah, I still hold a lot of my altcoins. I still hold all my altcoins. I have not sold all my altcoins. Bitcoin I have taken profits, right? We talked about this yesterday. I took first profits here at my first bull market target. Second bull market target is the zone that we just tapped into here between about 123 and 137K. So I have not taken profits on this level just yet, but like I've been saying recently, my finger is getting itchy, guys. My finger is getting super, super itchy. So, hopefully just stay up here and get that push into new all-time highs. But again, I'll keep you guys updated as that price action develops. 5-day money flow still coming out. 4-day money flow, still kind of coming out, but those VWAPs are coming up. So we'll let it all develop. Jumping into Ethereum real quick here, guys. Ethereum, we looked at this yesterday, right? Nothing really to really update here. We got the rip up. We pulled the Fibonacci retracement from the low to the high. Looked at that golden pocket as support for a potential low, high, higher low, higher high to get accepted into this profile. And if we 4-hour money flow on Ethereum did cross into the green, which honestly kind of made me feel good about Bitcoin's money flow yesterday on the 4-hour. It was like 4-hour money flow on Bitcoin's coming up. Ethereum's front running it. Pretty decent probability that Bitcoin was going to come into the green, but we just didn't see it happen, right? It's never going to be 100%. But that was kind of the hope, right? Low, high, golden pocket, higher low, higher high, right? We could not get accepted into the range, and we wound up just coming back down to this golden pocket. So I don't really love, as I always say, I do not really love when these levels are tapped more than once. It's really, if I'm looking for a low, a high, a higher low, and a higher high, I prefer to see this just hold on the first tap. That would have looked a lot cleaner. But for me, if we lose this golden pocket, the next key level is going to be kind of similar to Bitcoin. You have the 786 here at 3617. And then if we can't hold above that, we're just coming back down to our macro value area high. Again, very similar to Bitcoin, right? Macro value area high, macro anchored VWAP. You can see this anchored VWAP held as support perfectly on that last drop to the downside. We obviously reclaimed that value area high. If we come back down here, that 786 is, in my opinion, the last place to look for the bounce. Once you lose that, we're coming down to play in here at around 3530, right? And the anchored VWAP comes in at about 35.15. Once we lose that anchored, the anchored VWAP and the value area high, I am simply going to be looking down to our next big level of support, which is going to be sitting right down here between about $3,200 and $3,100. So we'll see what happens. Ethereum's still above the range high, which is nice, right? Bitcoin's kind of contextually, Bitcoin's kind of like playing around in here right now, which is why I don't really love it as much, right? Ethereum is at least still on top of that key level of support. So there we go. I don't know why it is not letting me undo. That is very interesting. This has never happened to me before. I draw new stuff, and I can't undo it. I have to take it out from the object tree. That's really annoying. So there we go. Market makers are having a field day. Shout out to Jessica, one of our elite. Shout out to Erica. Happy birthday. One of our other elite female CandleMafia members. Let's see. Shout out to Creighton C. Thank you for the super chat, bro. What is going on? He says, Falcon Hawk. Tony put up the FH signal. What troubles this place? Master of Candles. Let's see. Is the top in? Blah, blah. Up only. Why are they bullish? Wait for the macro lower high. Short it. Make money. Good. Shout out to Creighton C. And, if I could, shout out to Creighton, if I could just kind of point this out on a clean chart. Nothing on the chart. I'm going to take everything off, right? And I'll just do this at like we're just doodling on a piece of paper. Price comes up. Support, right? And generally, right? You have a little higher low there. But essentially, these lows are going to be support, and then once they're not support anymore, they're going to be resistance. I don't know why I can't undo, guys. This is driving me crazy. So if we do wind up coming back up, this is, even if we get another big bounce, this is going to be massive resistance. And to be quite honest, right, like let's just say we come up from where we are right now, right? Here's your range. You break down. Anytime we come back up to retest this, it doesn't mean you can't get back in and send it back up. But it is going to be massive resistance until proven otherwise. And even if we came up from here and we put in a higher low, come back up, and we start scamming up here, guys, I still have to be careful. And I think this is a simple way to look at it for a lot of people who don't want to see all the intermediary levels. Golden pocket retracement, 786 retracement. This is the biggest level to get above. It's the same thing that we looked at on the previous all-time high, right? It's like, hey, if we can't get back above this golden pocket, 786 Fibonacci retracement, guess what? It's probably going to be a lower high and a lower low, breaking structure to the downside. But Frankie, this was a higher high, not a higher low. That's why we look. This undoing thing is going to kill me. That's why we look at the high time frame candle closures. So if you look at this from a high time frame perspective, you get the low, the high, the higher low, but then you put in the lower high here on that fib. You get the 786 rejection from the weekly candle, right? And then that is a higher probability that you're going to break that structure to the downside. And we did see that happen. It's the same thing here, right? Even if we did get a nice push to the upside, and we did come into that 117 to 118K zone or even 121K, I still have to be careful of lower highs and macro lower lows, right? This could be kind of an overall bigger picture of what you see happen, right? And again, once we get up there, if it looks good, hey, maybe we can start looking for all-time highs. I don't know what the charts are going to look like up there, but I would still say like the biggest levels to get above is going to be like $112,000. This value area might be slightly different because it's Bitstamp. Let me pull it up on the Bybit chart, right? So just from a simple perspective, main range, that is the, like until we get back into this range, I'm not really looking for higher prices. Doesn't mean we can't bounce, right? But even if we bounce, right, it's like we got to get above. Oh my God, the undo is going to kill me, guys. It's such reflex to undo it. But you got to get above the range lows. This would be a first nice sign of strength for a continuation up into what? Your Fibonacci retracements, which are really the levels you have to get above, right? The value area low at 112K is essentially just a local level, right? Like, all right, cool. Maybe we can get a continuation up, but even this can be a lower high or this can be a lower high. Once you break above 121K, with money flow looking good, that's where you can look for new all-time highs. So even this, right? We don't know what this is going to look like. It could be a very complex, confusing kind of retracement. I just don't know. But that's my overall thought process and why it's like, every time we get like a move up, people are like, oh my God, we're so back, right? And it's like, I mean, if we get even a sizable pump of 10% into this POC, I would still be saying like, we still got to be careful, guys, unless there's some significant signals on Market Cipher B, which again, I don't know what that looks like up here yet because we don't have the information. But I would just have to assume that I have to be careful around these Fibonacci retracements for lower highs and lower lows. So there you go. And here's another bullish thing. Someone said, is there anything else bullish other than just getting a scam to the upside? And one thing I would say is there's a lot of like traditional bull market indicators or bear market indicators that have not signaled yet. The Pi cycle top indicator I don't think fired yet. The MVRVZ score has not fired yet. So there's some of these traditional indicators that a lot of people look at that have not fired. That's a point for the bulls, right? Maybe we do see, again, Q4 is not over. Maybe we can see that, last push to the upside, that final pump. But again, when, none of that stuff is on the charts. Even back in 2021, if we had not had any of those things fire, again, I don't really pay much attention to those, to be honest anyway. I only know that because people said it in the chat. But like even up here, it's like if I have all the bearish signals that I'm looking at with the big drop down, money flow on the weekly coming out, getting stuck below that 50-week moving average, blood diamond on the weekly, right? Like if I see all that stuff, I'm not just going to be like, never mind, Pi cycle top indicator never flashed. I'm just going to keep holding. And maybe that would have been a mistake, right? I think it did flash here, though. I don't know if it was here or where it flashed. But, I'm just saying if that indicator was not flashing and I saw all this stuff, I would probably still have a bearish bias looking for the bear market to come in. People hated me here, guys. And that's why I'm like, I'm not saying the top is in. And I definitely don't want to say the top is in. I got a lot of hate for this. And it's like funny because I was right. And people still hated on me. But it's okay. All right. You put yourself on the internet. You put yourself in hate's way. I'm just kidding. But that's another thing that I didn't mention. You do still have like a significant amount of things that does not signal that the top is in. They flash after a 25% drop? Interesting. All right. Well, in that case, we still got time. 92K. Shout out to Dizzy Gang. Said, I got peas on my head, but don't call me a pea head. Shout out to Dizzy Gang. I got bear signals on the chart, but don't call me a perma bear. All right. Let's see. Shout out to Creighton. Says, ETH does not look like it topped. That's one. BTC has some signs of a top, but that's not a good-looking top. Yeah, I will say this, right? When we look at Ethereum, I've talked about this even recently before these drops, right? To me, right, when we look at the chart on ETH, right? Let me pull it up on, the Bitstamp chart. So when we pull it up on the weekly time frame, right, like weekly money flow is still in the green. VWAP pretty oversold here. if we could get this green dot to print sooner than later, maybe in the next couple of weeks, if we can get that to print and this money flow stays in the green, right, this could signal, right, like this actually, Ethereum does look a lot better. Number one, it's still above key support, right? Number two, if you can get that green dot on the weekly, this momentum wave does look like it may want to create a bear div. And if we are going to create that bearish divergence, it would call for a break of structure to the upside. So I actually do feel, I would say from even a chart perspective, Ethereum does still look a little bit better. So I would agree with that. Shout out to Crane C. I would totally agree with that. Oh my God, I can't undo anything. But yeah, I would agree with that. Ethereum does not look as bad. Hopefully that's the case, right? Money flow still in the green, and just the way this momentum wave and VWAP looks, if we can get that green dot, print that bear div, and you might say, well, bearish divergence, why would that make you look for a move up? Well, it's because to form the bear div, we need to put in a higher high. And then like the next levels I'll be looking at is between like $5,300 and $5,800. And then we'll talk about higher targets if and when we get there. And then when it comes to Bitcoin, right, like one of the other things that you have here is just from a psychological perspective, you don't really have a ton of euphoria, right? It's like typically at tops you have people, being super euphoric. And we don't have that here, right? I think fear and greed is still super low. It's not typically what we see a top come in on. And that's why I'm not here, like, it's why I'm still presenting both cases, right? I'm not just saying like, oh my God, guys, only bearish signs, top is in, right? I'm still presenting both cases because it's just not clear cut here. We do have a lot of warning signs that we had in the previous bear market, right? Or at the previous top. But again, you have the big indicators that haven't fired yet. You don't have the euphoria. But again, one thing I do see here, which I mentioned yesterday, is that although you don't have euphoria, we do have a lot of people just calling for higher prices, which again, I hope that's correct. But it's typically the dips that everybody wants to buy are the ones that you probably don't want to buy. Everybody was super scared here. Everybody was like almost mad at me that I was looking for a move up here. That's a dip you buy. Down here, oh my God, is this the bear market? That's the dip you want to buy. And here I just see a lot more people just like holding on to like either this time is different or, oh, we have to tap the 50-week moving average before going up. And maybe that stuff is true. But you just don't have the euphoria, which I guess you could argue is somewhat of a good sign, right? Not something I would trade based off of, but it is interesting. Let's see. Bitcoin dominance. Yeah, let's take a quick look at Bitcoin dominance. There it is. We looked at this yesterday. Literally, I mean, not too much of a bigger move up from yesterday, but we looked at this yesterday saying, we're not going to be surprised if we get Bitcoin dominance to continue tracking to the upside here. Why? Well, when we take a look at our daily time frame, we had that money flow coming into the green very aggressively. We had the green dot printing, and you also have your massive wick here, right? So like, this daily money flow being in the green indicates to me we had the bull divs at the low. Higher lows, lower lows, right? Money flow comes up. This indicates that this could be a strong bottom for a continuation of that trend to the upside. Still have our biggest levels of resistance here. I would say on a higher time frame, this still does look weak from a high time frame perspective. 3-day money flow crossing into or is in the red, continuing out. 4-day money flow. Our 3-day money flow is coming out still into the red. 4-day money flow is still trending out aggressively. With the VWAP coming down, looking for a red dot. So I would still say high time frame. This does look like the overall trend can continue down on a high time frame. Again, this does not mean the daily trend can't continue up, right? But the overall larger trend, not this little trend in here, the larger trend could still give you lower highs and lower lows. So with this daily money flow, I would kind of say the same thing as yesterday. We did track up a little bit more. Let's see if we can continue this move to the upside into the golden pocket 786 value area low confluence. This is the first big level of resistance to look at. If we can get above these levels, flip that value area low to support, I'm going to have to anticipate this next bigger Fibonacci retracement to come in towards the POC. It's the same thing on dominance that we look at on any price chart, right? Get above the value area low. People were calling for alt season here. Not us, right? We're looking for this flip of support. This is bullish, right? You're looking for a push in towards that POC. You get it. You lose this POC. We look for the big drop down to the value area low. We got it. Money flow is trending out on the daily. You look for lower highs, lower lows. You get it. And now we just have this daily money flow coming up. So, but just don't get it twisted, right? This is obviously not going to be amazing for altcoins, but you could still, I hope we don't have to come up here. This would be brutal. Hopefully, the two opportunities to put in those lower highs are going to be sitting in these two zones. So, Could be brutal for altcoins on the way up, right? But eventually, if we can get that lower high and lower low to come in, people always say when alt season, when alt season. I just don't know, right? Like nobody knows. You know, at the end of the day, alt season is going to come in when this thing absolutely nukes. But whether, you know, these would be the highest probability levels to look at for those dumps. But even the dumps aren't guaranteed, right? So we'll have to keep an eye on this as it develops as well. But I would still say my sentiment on dominance remains the same. Higher time frame trends look like they can continue down. Shorter time frame trends look like they could potentially continue up. So these are the next levels to look at. And if you can get above, 61% and, hold on top of that value area low, break above that 786, you're probably looking to get closer to that POC around 64%. Let's see. Shout out to Pew Pew. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He said, hey, Frankie, can we take a look at ADA? Think that's 50 cent. Looks like a nice buy area. Shout out to Pew Pew. Yes, I will take a look at Cardano. I was actually already planning on taking a look at it, so we'll take a look at that as well. Let's see here. Shout out to Mike. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He says, is it likely high time frame money flow on BTC dominance will also come back into the green? It's hard to picture a scenario where Bitcoin enters a bear market and the alts outperform. How did BTC dominance look in 2020 at the 2021 top? Thank you, sir. Shout out to Mike. That's a great question. And absolutely, I don't know if I might have just answered all of your questions here. But highest probability areas to put in lower highs and lower lows are going to be here and here. And again, even if we come up into these levels, like the dump is not guaranteed, right? Like I would still say, like from a technical standpoint, the money flow is still trending out here, right? So that looks okay. But that doesn't, of course, that does not mean that it is guaranteed. There's never going to be a guaranteed thing. And this is something I really like to push because I think a lot of people are searching for something that doesn't exist. 100%. If we get back up in here, and we start flipping this POC and we start cooking up more, right? Like this money flow can totally come back into the green. And that's why I say you have to let the information develop, right? Maybe we come in here, it looks super bearish, daily money flows coming back out. Maybe there's a high probability of a dump. I just can't say that until we get up there. But absolutely, it's not guaranteed. There will never be. And if anyone's out there telling you they have a guaranteed thing, they're just straight up lying to you, right? Hopefully no one's doing that. I think most people kind of have a logical approach on things, but there's just never going to be a guarantee. So we'll see, right? If we come up here and it looks really good, meaning money flow is coming up, which would really be bad, then we'll just say, hey, this is probably not going to be the rejection. Let's go up to the next level. If it starts, the money flow still looks good up here, it's going to be really hard to call for a massive dump from here, right? It's definitely a scenario we can see play out. I just can't put my probabilities on it right now because I just don't have the information. But great question. All right, let's go ahead and jump into some other altcoins here. Let's take a look at Solana real quick. Solana pushing into, just get my context here. Yeah, so we ripped through that 786 with our wick, but now we are testing it once again. We're bouncing off this tap daily N786 and the anchored VWAP. This is absolutely important support for Solana to hold. I would say personally, if we do not hold this 786, which is pulled from this higher low all the way to the high, we start losing this, I am probably looking for a bigger move down to potentially fill this wick. See if I can pull up that 2021 macro range. Yeah, I mean, at that point, it's like you lose this 786. I'm probably looking to eventually fill this wick, maybe down to 141 at the POC. That's your next key level, right? And you just look at this volume profile. It's like, well, hey, what's going on here? We've broken below the value area high. Big wick to the downside. Again, we could pretty much ignore this. Not that it's not important, but it's just like, these are all liquidations. We get back into the range. We tried to get out, tried to hold it. We're back in. We can't get out here. If we cannot escape this value area high, which, by the way, sits at 193.06, if we cannot get out of there and we lose this 786, I'm going to be looking for a bigger drop to the downside. And to be quite honest, I don't really have a lot of levels here that have not been taken out on this wick. So I don't even think we have any MPOCs here, right? Do we have a daily MPOC? Like, there's no MPOCs down on this liquidation wick, right? Like, weekly, like, we just have no MPOCs there. Where's your next weekly MPOC? It's sitting all the way down there on the point of control. This is probably already marked off on the chart. Yeah, it is. This is tapped, right? So, really all I have underneath me at this point, below this 786, is essentially this weekly and naked point of control and the POC of this entire range. So look at this from a volume profile perspective. Deviate above the highs, get back in, POC value area low. Deviate below, back in, POC, almost to the value area high. Might have been the current value area high at the time before we made this new high, right? Reject the value area high, back to the low, bounce off the low, flip the POC, back to the high. Here's your deviation. Just showing the importance of getting stuck into this range. Could easily call for a move down here. So we're at support. We're at the support right now. We got to hold this, right? Got to hold this. Sitting at $177. So there you go. That's what I'll be looking at on Solana, or Solonzo, as your boy James Kramer might call it. Shout out to Hussein, says a lot of alts have big weekly bullish divergences. Not on Solana. I'll keep an eye out for these as we look through the altcoins. I'll pull up Cardano here. Well, here's the thing, right? Like, I guess you could, no bullish divergence on Cardano. No bullish divergence on Ondo. I'm just kind of shift through here because I don't really see, I have not seen any weekly bullish divergences on any altcoins. So any of the ones that I've gone through right now do not have a weekly bullish divergence. No weekly bull div. XRP, no weekly bull div. Brett, no weekly bull div. I am not seeing any weekly bullish divergences. You might be looking maybe at a different indicator that you're seeing the bull divs on, but I do not have any bullish divergences on at least any of the ones that I just went through. No weekly bull divs. But if you give me the coin you're looking at, I'll try to see if I can find something. But let's take a quick look at Cardano here. Cardano's still sitting here. Oh, my God, man. This thing is just clinging on for dear life, guys. Clinging on for dear life. That's your 786, guys. This is the level. This is the level. Lose this 786. I just don't have a lot underneath us. It's not to say that you can't just get a bounce for no reason, maybe, or just maybe something I'm not looking at. But I just don't have a lot of support underneath the 786. Daily money flow is in the red. Red dot is also printing. Let's check that 90-minute money flow. 90-minute money flow is in the red as well. With that daily red dot, that 90-minute money flow oftentimes indicates the continuation of that downtrend. There's the drop, lower high, lower low. If this continues into the red, I would expect that trend to continue. So not looking very good as of right now to hold that 786. Maybe on a lower time frame. No 4-hour bull div. No 1-hour bull div. Man, I'm trying, guys. I am trying. No bull divs. Oh, my God. So, I don't see any significant signals here. So if we lose that 786, what is the next level of support? Because obviously we're going to have support at some point. Again, we would have had, we could have had a weekly level, right? That weekly level's tapped. Never mind. And anything that was not tapped here, this weekly level was tapped on this wick right here. Even if it wasn't tapped, this wick would have taken it out. So the next key level of support I would have to look at here on Cardano is going to be at our bear market range, which shout out to whoever asked for this, about 50 cents, right? I would probably make this a little bit of a zone from the value area high down to the bottom of these wicks. Bada boom, something like this. That's your next big level of support. Why? Well, guess what? You have your low, your high. If you're looking for the higher low, it's got to come in on this 786. Like maybe you can get wicks below and then you can maybe reclaim and get back up in there and send it through the profile. But again, all that money flow is coming out, indicating the trend is more likely to continue to the downside. So if we lose that 786, next stop I'll be looking at is between 54 and 50 cents. If we can't hold this, just like any other coin, guys, any other alt, we get stuck inside this volume profile, the next level within the profile is going to be the POC. Now, maybe we could find some local levels in here that we can look at, but to be quite honest, there's not a lot, right? We had a fast move up, fast move down now through that wick. There's just not, I don't see any support here, right? We don't have any weekly levels. We don't have any daily levels. Even if we did have them here, they would have been taken out by this wick. You're definitely coming down to critical support. And what have we been talking about Cardano before this liquidation wick, right? Like, ignore the liquidation wick for now. What have we been looking at? Rejection from the high, looking for the POC. Do we love this level? Could it be a higher low and a higher high? Maybe, but we're always looking to have that range fill in full. We've gotten that range to fill in full. And if we did get that range to fill in full, where were we looking for support? It would have to come in down here at that 786. Why? Because if we don't hold the 786, guess what? We're coming down to the value area high. If we can't hold the value area high, we even talked about this. If we lose these 50-cent lows, what are we going to be looking at? We're going to be looking at getting accepted into this profile, pushing down to the POC, and then pushing down to that value area low. And we obviously had that wick come all the way down to the value area low and snap all the way back to the upside. So even on these crazy wicks, the same thing is respected. Lose that 786, right? And if we're going to go fill this, I mean, this is just crazy. I mean, what was this on Cardano? 55% wick, right? Like if you were going to come and fill this wick, get stuck in the profile, I mean, that would be like quite a wick to fill, to be honest. But it'd be the same thing, right? Like we already had it happen on the wick. Same thing's going to happen here if the candles come down and we break below and can't get back up. I'm going to have to look for long, and it's going to be long term. And again, maybe we can find some local levels somehow in here. But, you know, I would just be looking at this larger profile. It's like definitely do not want to lose this 50-cent level. And more locally, you don't want to lose the level here at 62 cents, which is the 786. And then it's like even here, right? If I'm looking to trade this as a typical volume profile, what am I looking at this as? Well, I would say to myself, what do I want to see down here? I want to see a deviation below the low, and I also want to see like some nice bullish divergences. Do I have them? Let's see. We actually did get a 4-hour bull div right here. We already got that push up, though, and now we're just eating it all back. So this 786 is absolutely key to stay above. And then if you can get the bounce, you want to flip that value area low at 65 cents to support, and then hopefully push into your POC 786 anchored VWAP zone sitting right here between 72 and 76 cents. But I have to say, money flow back out on the 4-hour. You have a lot of this daily money flow coming out. You know, not what I want to see for a massive rotation, not only back to the all-time highs, but even if I wanted to see a big, massive rotation back from the value area low, reclaim into the POC, into the value area high, even if I wanted this, I need this money flow to look totally opposite. What happened last time we got the full rotation from the low to the high? Money flow is in a deep red wave. We get back above the value area low. Money flow crosses green on the daily. At that point, we can anticipate higher highs and higher lows for the full fill of the range. We do not have this here, right? Maybe we get the money flow to scam back up aggressively, and then maybe we will have it, but I can't just fade the idea of having this red dot and the money flow coming out. Does that make sense, right? Like if I had this, I would be calling for it. I call for it back here because it was on the chart. It's just not on the chart right now. And that's why I'm definitely approaching with caution and, you know, leaning towards potential moves to the downside if we lose that 786. So, oh, now I can undo. Great. That's awesome. I don't know why I can undo now, but great. So there you go. That's what I'll be looking at on Cardanzo. USDT dominance. We could try to take a look at that. I don't know if I want to look at this, guys. I don't know if I really want to, if I'm being quite honest. Man, monthly money flow tanking, which would be nice. Yeah. 5-day money flow crossing into the green. 6-day money flow crossing into the green. Let's take a look at the daily. Daily money flow in the green with the green dot printing. Obviously, just pretty much looking the opposite as Bitcoin. Let's check the 12-hour. Yeah, I don't know if I really have a 10-hour money flow crossing into the green. Monthly green dot. You don't have the bullish divergences, which is nice. Man, I'll tell you what, guys. Let's just hope this is a bear pennant. It breaks down. We'll just go with the pattern there. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know if I really have too much input on this. I mean, you got money flow coming up on many key time frames. Try to pull some levels here. Yeah, I don't really have too much of an input on this. It's not something I pay a ton of attention to be quite honest with you. I could try to pull some retracements, pull it from the high all the way to the low. You know what? I'll pull it more relative. Already got that rejection. Let me just pull this. All right, so we are hitting the local fib. You break above this 786, I would say right here at about 5.75%. That would probably be a not so great sign. Good sign for USDT dominance, but that 786, 5.76% is going to be an important level to watch. Break above that, I would expect that to continue up, potentially targeting this range up here. All right, so break above the 786, look to come into about 6.5%. And then if you flip that, you might be able to come back up into this profile. But that's pretty much all I got for you, really, on USDT dominance. You got your weekly money flow trying to come up here, but it's just not enough for me to give a clear signal on. So there you go. I forgot who asked for that, but hopefully that helps you out. Shout out to Khan, says Dr. Profit called the top again. Shout out to Khan. Who is Dr. Profit? Has he called the top previously? That would be interesting to know. Shout out to Khan. Yeah, shout out to Megan, says it's basically just inverted it's the inverse of BTC, not really as important in my opinion. Yeah, this is not something I check in very often. I would agree with you there. Sui, we could take a look at Sui. Shout out to who said it? Who said it? Yo, shout out to Dr. Bone, said your soul died charting that. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, guys. This is honestly a little bit of a stressful couple of weeks as a content creator, guys, because it's like I just don't. I always dread these times, right? Because like I always have to say what I see on the charts, and I just know that oftentimes when I see stuff on the charts, it's not what a lot of people are gonna hear. So it's been a little bit of a kind of week, past 2 weeks, I would say. Institutions need lower prices, which means it needs dumb money to sell. Seems like it's going as planned. Shout out to Megan. Tau, we could try to take a look at Tau as well. Link, yeah, we could take a look at Link. Link and Tau will be next. Link and Tau. I have a screenshot of a guy that called the top 2 years ago to the exact day. Shout out to R1. Hey, what's that guy saying? Yeah, there's no gas left in the economy. We need a correction. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing, too. It's like, if we get money printing, do we need some kind of a crazy recession to come in? Which obviously would be bad short term. And that's kind of, if we are going to see something different play out here, guys, it's like, what if we get some kind of like big dump, and then it's like kind of in the timing of the 4-year cycle, we get the big dump, we feel the pain, and then eventually we get a new Fed chair or they start printing money, and then we get the real liquidity to send it into another massive new all-time high. That could be the case. And then like maybe the bear market gets a little stepped on, and then the whole 4-year cycle thing gets stepped on, which I hope doesn't happen, guys. It's so nice to at least like lean on the idea of the 4-year cycles, whether you think it follows traditional markets or not. It is nice to just kind of lean on that stuff. Shout out to Megan, said that guy didn't short the top like the Mafia though. Shout out to Megan. Let's go, baby. Let's go. But yeah. All right, let's take a look at Sui real quick. Not on the what am I doing here? I don't know exactly what Sui chart we have. Okay, there it is. Oh my God, man, this price action is brutal, man. This price action's so gross. I personally prefer another low here. Doesn't guarantee we're gonna get it. And of course, right? It's like if we lose, right? Let me just get my bearings here. We have the 786 pulled from the low to the high. We have the full fill of the volume profile. Bearish divergences at the high. Back into the POC. Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. This 786 retracement was very important. We've now lost this. I'm going to take this blue box off because this has now been lost. So I'll take that off. Get rid of the monthly. We had nice support down there. But, of course, even underneath that, we had this monthly MPOC, and weekly naked point of control, which was going to be very nice support here, guys. But now we have that wick that came down and just washed out those levels. Now, could this potentially still hold up because it was washed through on a liquidation? Maybe. Maybe. Just maybe. They are technically all tapped, but I'm going to leave them here just for the fact that it was kind of a caveat of getting liquidated through. So this is definitely going to be the only thing I can look at underneath us, sitting between 227 to 210. This is your next key level of support. If we could push in there, I mean, like maybe you could get some bullish divergences, even like on the 5-hour. It looks like it might want to form there for some kind of a bounce. Key level of resistance to the upside is absolutely 100% going to be this value area low, sitting at 268. So you're kind of just bing-bonging around between this key level of support and your macro value area. So your hope here is, again, not necessarily what I would say is the highest probability, but, if you do get a bounce either from where we're at right now, or I would definitely prefer to put a low in here. Actually, let me pull this fib real quick. Where's this fib come in? So technically, if we zoom in here, this 786 right now is also local support, right? So technically, you have the 786 here. So if you can hold the 786, if you get a bounce from this, let me grab that, right? If you get the bounce from the 786, 268 is going to be the biggest level to get on top of to continue to the upside. But it's going to be resistance until proven otherwise. I don't know how good I feel about that, to be quite honest. If you lose that 786, you got these tapped levels down here. I would still, lose that 786, I'm looking down here. Between 210 and 226. Once you lose that, not going to lie, guys, like this weekly MPOC down here, again, was hit through the liquidation wick. Even this one down here, these were the next two big high time frame support levels. They've now been tapped. I'm going to leave them here because they were tapped on liquidations. But I would say, like, if you don't hold this macro zone here for a bigger bounce back into your range to push up towards the POC and potentially the high, I would have to argue lose this level, could be headed down towards about 147. I just don't have any other levels to pull there. Could attempt to pull this as some kind of a volume profile. Very local, kind of wonky. Does come right, yeah. So I will mark this out so we can keep an eye on it. You have your value area high, POC, value area low. You can see you hold the high in the POC for another rip up, rejected, back in, down to the low. Break out, flip the high to support, back up. So I would look at it the same way here. If we push down in here, you really want to hold. You have your value area high directly into that weekly MPOC. If you break back down below this level, probably looking to fill that value area to the low at about $1.70, $1.69. So there you go. So that level is still there. So we'll keep an eye on that. And yeah, let me just give you these local 786, which I just don't know how much hope I have for this to hold. But that is sitting at 236. If we lose that, I'm looking to come down here between 227 and 210. If we start getting accepted back into that range, you could be looking down to 169, almost 170. And then to go lower, we'll talk about that if and when we get there, right? But then if you get the bounce to the upside, the biggest level of resistance to get above is 268. You can even see it here. You got the bounce back up, rejected, back down, right? So this could be something that you see. Lower high, lower low. High time frame money flow coming back into the red. Look at that. 3-day money flow in the red, 2-day money flow trying to come out, but you do have a 2-day green dot looking to print. 4-day money flow still in the red, 5-day money flow still in the red, 6-day just crossed over into the red, and the weekly is coming out. So again, we'll have to see what these high time frame green dots give us, but again, like even if they give us a push, money flow is still trending out. We need this money flow to come back up. So that's what I look at on SUI. Honestly, anytime you have big liquidations like this, like all this price action is just super choppy and annoying to look at. So let's see if we can reclaim that 786 locally. All right, let's see. Tau. Oh, yeah, we'll take a look at Link and Tau. Let's take a look at Link first. So Chainlink, gonna have to pop that up to the wick high. Chainlink's still above its value area low with an untapped value area high. Interesting. Now, question is this a macro lower high? That is the real question. There's your retracement levels that you would look for the lower high at. High, low, lower high, lower low. Or are you going to put the higher low in? Money flow coming out pretty aggressively here on the 6-day, but again, your VWAP is coming up, which could create noise to the upside. But again, if this money flow continues trending out, even if you get that green dot, it would be looked at as a lackluster bounce, lower high, lower low, right? Because even if that green dot prints, VWAP comes up and that money flow is still trending out, right? And I'll try to find like an example of this, right? Just because like I know sometimes it's a little bit abstract. Here's a green dot. We get a move to the upside, right? Or actually, I'm going to have to find when money flow is coming out. So like right here, right? Not even. It was kind of a bad example. Still stays true, right? Money flow follows the overall trend, or the trend follows the overall money flow. But like something like this, right? It's like you get the green dot. Sure, you get a pop to the upside, right? Because I think it gets confusing because you might see like, oh my God, we're about to print a green dot that's bullish, but if money flow coming out is bearish, how do you identify that? Like, how do you take any information away from that? And it really just comes down to green and red dots are the ups, downs, red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot, red dot, green dot. Money flow indicates the overall trend. Very simple. Green dot indicates an ebb or flow to the upside. Money flow is trending out. So you look for lower highs and lower lows. Where are you looking for the lower highs and the lower lows? Pulling your Fibonacci retracements. And of course, that value area low is going to be key resistance until proven otherwise. So that would have been the area, if we were looking at this at the time, which maybe we were, that is the area where you would look for the lower high. And what happens? You tap it and you nuke. Money flow keeping you on the right side of that trade. You're not getting faked out there saying, oh my God, wait, I thought money flow was coming out. Why are we pumping? Oh my God, this must be bullish, right? Overall context is going to be much more important. So similar situation here, right? If you get the ebb or flow to the upside, got to be careful if this money flow continues out, right? Because it could be a lower high and a lower low. But right now, let me get rid of this. This is obviously not what we're looking at. You're still above your value area low, right? It's like, hey, hold on top of the value area low. And more importantly, like if you want to extend that down to the 1455.786, right? Bounce off the value area low. Like this could be support. If we lose it, 786 could also be support, but you have to get back above that value area low still. Once you lose the 786, I'm looking to take out this low, right? Yeah, looking to take out this low. Lose 1455. I'm looking to crack down below $11. So there you go. That's what I would look at on Chainlink. Let's take a look at Tau real quick. All right. This is old. Whoops. Yeah, that is old. Extension level held up. But that's old. This is old. May be able to extend this profile a little bit, actually. Let me actually extend this to current. It doesn't even move it, really, but I will just update this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to keep what I had just because I don't want to incorporate that wick. Here's your value area. Full fill. Back to the POC. Tried to get back out. Money flow is coming out here on the 90-minute. Daily red dot confirmed. 2-day red dot printing. 2-day money flow does actually not look horrible. This could obviously change. You have a red dot printing, so we'll see what that gives us. Your biggest level of support here, in my opinion, yeah, look at that tap on the 786. Good Lord. So you are hitting support right now. You did put in some bull divs here into your 786. 4-hour money flow. Yeah, it's just money flow, guys. It's like, maybe you get a bounce here, but it's just like money flow is not pointing towards a massive move up here. So I would still be careful here. 15-minute money flow crossover with your 4-hour red dot, giving you that market cipher B116 strategy. Bearish setup, by the way, obviously. So could you bounce here? Yes. I just wouldn't really be super excited about it because money flow is headed into the red. So I would have to be aware of lower highs and lower lows. Let's pull that key resistance. So I would say watch the value area high, golden pocket, and then watch that 786. So if you do get a bounce here short term off these bull divs, which I don't know if you're going to, but if you do, I mean, you got to get out of this volume profile. More importantly, above that 786. Other than that, because of money flow, I'd be looking for lower highs, lower lows, making your next key level of support sitting down here at 348.55 at the point of control. So those are the levels I'd look at on Tau. Daily money flow has come back into the green, which is interesting. Money flow super, super, super choppy. It's been like that for quite some time now, too. So, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't really be getting out of bed until we crack above that 786 at 438. Until then, we'll see if we get stuck in this range. Key support, POC. Lose that POC. Value area low at 317 is your key level of support. 2 key levels of support. So there we go. Let's see. Shout out to Saba. Said, thanks, Frankie, you're the GOAT. Shout out to Saba. No problemo, brother. Fighter Pilot said, if anything is going to zero, it's the dollar. Definitely not BTC. Yeah, shout out to Fighter Pilot. Yeah, that's short the dollar forever, guys. Short it forever. It's going to keep melting. It's going to keep melting. Tau confirmed SFP on the weekly. I don't know if you're talking about this SFP. Definitely a swing failure pattern. This was the biggest liquidation in crypto history, though. So maybe it's a liquidity. Maybe it is just an SFP for a massive move up. I would hope so. I wish there were clearer signs here on the higher time frames. You know, the good news here for Tau at least would be your 2-day money flow, right? But it's not really an agreement. You want multiple confluences amongst many different time frames. 2-day money flow not looking super bad though. So maybe that's a liquidity sweep. I just like it was one of the biggest it was the biggest liquidation in history for the crypto markets that we saw on Friday, right? So it's like I just don't know if I'd be trading that as an SFP. Hopefully it plays out like that though, if I'm being honest. I do hold some Tau, so send that thing back up. But those are the key levels to look at, 100%. Let me actually take a look at this as well. Yeah, and you can see like the rejections at this upper value area as well is holding up on that value area low. Boom. POC value area low. All right. So if you did scam on top of that 786, this is your next range to get into between 476 all the way up to about 625. But we'll keep an eye on this. Still inside the range. Hopefully these little bull divs can give you at least a local bounce to the upside. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant bearish SFP. Oh, yeah. How did I not see that? Yes, I would treat that more as a regular high time frame SFP for sure. Came up, tap that value area low, send it back down, and now we're back inside our area of balance below. And these are usually good for moves down to the POC at least, right? Like this never really freaks me out, right? You get the push above the high, you get your bearish divergences into your key level of resistance, you get below the value area high, push into the POC. This is the highest probability move, right? Although the rotation of the entire range is more often than not a very high probability, really the volume profile trades are mean reversions, right? It's like this is your fairest price within the volume profile. So when you deviate above, you look at that as overbought. And then this is where you want to look for shorts to then ride it all the way back down to the POC being the highest probability move, TP1, stop loss to break even, and then you look for that final move to the downside into the value area low. So it's kind of rare. I mean, you do have support here on the local fib, but it's like, yeah, it's like once you're below that value area, it's like it's just a rough. This is like a hard trade, right? And it's not that you can't take it, but you know you just have to be really careful when you start pushing up into that 416 level, because again, if you get stuck in here, it's like you're eventually high probability of going down to that POC anyway. So yeah, that's what I would look at on Tau or Tau, as some people like to say. Yo, shout out to Always says, I'm thinking this BTC thing is going to catch on. Shout out to Always. Shout out to OC2. Thank you for the super chat. Says, missed my super chat. Opinion on Mint. Yeah, let's take a quick look at MNT. Bada boom. I don't think we have a chart on this, if I'm remembering correctly. This probably has the most price history, so I'll look at this. Quick reminder, guys, please do not super chat your altcoin. Well, you can super chat your altcoins. It just does not mean that we're going to look at it. I wish it did. I wish I could just look at every single super chat and look at every single altcoin, but unfortunately, that would be physically impossible because I have a feeling if we did that, we would start getting 7,000 super chats. But anyway, so this would be, I mean, really the clear area of balance I would be looking at on MNT. Is this Helium Mobile? Is that what this is? Oh, mantle? Why does this look so different? Am I looking at the right thing? Shout out to Hussein says Dot, Matic, and Beam is the bull divs on the weekly. Interesting. Let me see. I'm just going to take a quick check-in on this. Indeed. Whoa. Very close to invalidation, but it is there. Lower lows, higher lows. But back to the schedule programming. So for MNT, there's your overall volume profile. I mean, very, very clean volume profile here. $1.04 value area high, POC at 73 cents, value area low at 64 cents. So, I mean, I don't know if you're going to wind up coming back down here, but if you did, this is obviously going to be very key support. Pull the full fib here. Actually, let me pull the anchored VWAP. All right, so you're holding your anchored VWAP from the bottom right now. So this is definitely going to be key support as well. Get above it, hold it as support, hold it as support, hold it as support. You're fighting it right now, so hopefully that holds as support. I would say overall, money flow looks like it wants to trend down here. 12-hour money flow attempting to come out, 10-hour money flow coming out. This could be interesting with a weekly. Red dots already confirmed. 8-hour money flow trying to come out, 6-hour money flow in the red. 5-hour money flow, been in the red. 4-hour money flow, back in the red. All right, so you're definitely holding on to this anchored VWAP for dear life. That weekly was tapped to the dollar, so you have no fresh weeklies underneath you. You do have a weekly MPOC sitting right here in confluence with your value area high. And let's see if you have some daily MPOCs down below. Do have a daily MPOC here as well. So yeah, if you break this and you wind up getting a significant move to the downside, let me pull up the VPVR real quick. Come on, volume. Come on, volume. You can do it. There we go. So yeah, you do have a pretty significant volume gap. So I'm going to mark this high volume node off real quick. All right, so if you lose that anchored VWAP, just underneath you, you do have a high volume node sitting, or I'm sorry, a shelf of volume sitting at $1.40. Once you lose that, you have another high volume node at $1.29. I mean, these are not necessarily like super important levels that I would look at unless it's confluent. Yeah, I mean, I'll just give you some of these levels, right? 786 into that shelf of volume. Not something I would really necessarily be interested in long positions off of, but it is support. Once you break down below this, I would put, you don't have a low volume gap down here, but the next real support level that you have would be the weekly and daily MPOC in that value area high. So biggest levels to look at right now are going to be between $1.48 and $1.40 on this confluence, and that's if you short-term lose that anchored VWAP. Once you lose that level, the biggest level I would look at is sitting between $1.12 and $1.02 at your macro value area high. And then honorable mention, you have some of these high volume nodes here. But again, it's really the MPOCs that I'd be more attracted to, right, or more interested in. So that's what I would look at here on MNT. Again, daily money flow coming out, 16-hour money flow coming out, 8-hour money flow coming out, and then the 6, 5, and 4-hour money flow are in the red. So you're at support. I mean, you're hoping for a bounce here, but I just... not an area, not price action. I mean, this is not price action I'd be interested in trading, to be quite honest. Super sketchy price action. But there you go. That's what I'd be looking at on MNT. BTC pushing 108. Trying to get back into this scalp range. This thing is crazy. Where is it at? Yeah, back into this like crazy micro range. Attempting to get back in there. 4-hour green dot printing yet? Not yet. You do have the 4-hour green dot. Not even looking to print just yet, but it is getting close to that 0 line. Yeah, 1 hour green dot printing. Yeah. To be honest, guys, the biggest levels I want to see break on Bitcoin right now are this POC at POC slash macro value area high at $108,000. Not only is this the POC of your range, which could potentially open up the door to get the push into your anchored VWAP at 108,700, but it's also getting you back above your value area high, right? Your macro value area high. So if we can get back above there, it's like, all right, nice. Like you're still on that golden pocket. You're like still on this as support. And then this second level I would really like to break here is honestly confluence on your local 786 and your anchored VWAP. 108.7. So if you can get above the POC, look to push into here. And then once we break above this level, I think it could open you up again. There's your high volume node. Once you start cracking these highs, pretty big fall off in volume. I think once you get above here and hold, you will have a shot of getting a bigger push up into your value area high, sitting at about $110,730. Once you break above there, you do have that 786 sitting up here at $111,674. So this is probably going to be the more significant range that I'll be looking at. I'm not going to give people this little like 2% range or this little 1% range to look at. This is like a hyper local. But yeah, I'm gonna just sit here. My shorts are in profit, guaranteed winning trades. So I'm gonna continue to hold this stuff and see if we get that continuation down. Like I said, I would be holding the long if I got stopped out of a long today. Avoided this last little drop to the downside, but yeah, just super choppy price action, guys. And sometimes a lot of people always say long short, long or short, long or short. In the words of Tom Crown, sometimes the best trade is no trade. I don't think he made that up, but he was the last person that I heard say that. So shout out to Tom Crown. But BTC needs to reach 72K to print again. Shout out to Dr. Bones. 72K is that would be brutal. I'll be honest. Like if we went down to 72K, I don't even think that would be. Where are we at? 72K. We have a lot of support around 84K, 85K. 74K, I mean, we get back down to these lows. You have to think to yourself, right? For me personally, if I'm looking at the weekly money flow, what do we think that this weekly money flow is going to look like if we get this big drop down, right? And the reason why I would be cautious, I mean, who knows? It would take a long time to get down there, I would hope. But if we did get that bigger drop down, like this money flow is just naturally going to trend out. And the reason I pay so much attention to this weekly money flow is because literally every single time, cross is green, bottom's in, bull market. Cross is red, top is in, bear market, right? So, if we do come down there and this weekly money flow is either in the red or about to cross into the red, at that point, I'm not thinking massive move into new all-time highs. It's at least not my base case, right? What I would be thinking is something similar, right? How much of a dump would this be? A 40% dump, right? At that point, I would be more inclined to look at it like this. 50% dump. Money flow is coming out. Sure, we can look for a bounce, but I would not be looking for all-time highs. Same thing here. I was not looking for all-time highs. I was looking for a lower high and a lower low based off your weekly money flow. That would be the same exact thing that I'm looking at, speculatively, assuming if we get down there, that money flow is crossing into the red. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, this would also be like structure breaks on the higher time frames. I just wouldn't even like that. And it's also like not enough for a bear market to complete, in my personal opinion. So yeah, I don't know what about this level. I mean, I guess you would be retesting these highs maybe. But yeah, I would not like that probably for a big move up from there. Depending, I mean, who knows? We could hit that in 2026 for all I know. Maybe things look different. But there we go. That's what I would be looking at there. Let's see. I thought we bottomed when we broke out to 114K yesterday, but now it seems like the top is in, and we're going to crunch lower, 97, 92, 85K. BTC is a biatch, and I'm going to get Dave Digital to oil it, or Didi, or Diddy. Shout out to Eugene Sky. Shout out to Rudy, said, yo, love you, Frankie. You rock, homie. Shout out to Rudy. I appreciate you, bro, and I love you back in a very platonic way. Shout out to Creighton C said that was the 2022 bull trap, and it was nasty. 2022 bull trap. Yeah, right here. Yeah, this was, yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? It's like I could pull up the key levels to my heart's desire, right? But the thing is, it's like, what does price look like at that level, right? And it's like, if I just try to front run this stuff, I can almost guarantee you that if we went down to 70K or 74K, right, like I would have to assume this money flow is coming out. And like, even if you do get a big pump, right, it's like, well, what are the possibilities of going into like massive new all-time highs from there? Well, what would I want to see here on the weekly? I would want to see big red wave crossing into the green. That would indicate massive new all-time highs, which it did. Down here, I would have to see the same thing. So what I would need to see there would be like big red wave, right? And then it's crossing green as we're tapping into that level. Bottom of the bear market, boom. Cross green, send it to new all-time highs. But I would assume if we come down to 74K, especially if it's sooner than later, that money flow is probably just freshly going to be crossing into the red, almost the exact same situation as this. So we'll see. But yeah, that's what you want to be careful of, especially if everybody's screaming buy the dip. I remember it like it was yesterday, guys. I have a lot of friends that are full-time crypto. I'm around a lot of people like this. Oh, I think 30K is the bottom, bro. Like, I think 100K's got to come. They spit out a bunch of narratives. I don't even remember what they were, like whatever they were. It's like, oh, this, that. 30K is the bottom, and I'm just looking at the chart. The chart's just screaming to me lower highs, lower lows, and again, just very clearly displayed here on that money flow crossover. So I'm yapping at this point, guys. But keep an eye on those key levels. If you just tuned into the live stream, scrub back to the beginning of the stream to get all the key levels, the local levels, the macro levels, but pretty choppy day, kind of a nasty day here for the Bitcoin price action. Shout out to Edward, said just joined the Discord. Welcome in to the kitchen. I don't know if you're talking about the premium Discord or the free Discord. Either way, welcome, brother. You're in the best trading community that is out there. I can promise you that. If Bitcoin goes too slippery, we going downtown for a bit. Yeah, shout out to Peter. I hope not. I hope not. But again, the warning signs are there on the chart. But I will keep you guys updated here on the live streams and the market updates every single step of the way. And we will just pray and pray and pray that we get this move to the upside. But we'll see what happens. Thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you. Edward said the premium. Welcome to the kitchen, brother. Hopefully you're enjoying it so far. And if not, we're coming up on our premium live stream on Friday. So hopefully you can tune into that. But thank you guys all for tuning in. Shout out to Edward. Shout out to Dave Digital. Shout out to Iqbal. Shout out to Panda the Prophet. Jordan. Jesse. Did I say Dave Digital? Peter. Kyle. Dr. Bones, the liquidity grabbed every single futures trader to his core, ripper it apart. Yeah, shout out to Dr. Bones. I think every leverage trader got washed out on that Friday wick, except for us because we were short. So was not long there. I did not get stopped out. I got stopped out before that on a long, but not on that liquidation wick. Everybody was like, man, I got washed out of my longs. I was like, they were like, a couple people were like, luckily I wasn't in any leverage trades. They're like, did you get wrecked? I'm like, I am in 3 leverage trades, but they are all shorts, so I did not get wrecked. Awesome stream. Shout out to Dr. Bones. Thank you for being here. About to rewatch this shiz. Shout out to Emilio. Let's go. Appreciate you, Frankie. You're the GOAT. Shout out to Brad. I appreciate you guys. Oh, by the way, guys, before I let you go, don't forget, shout out to WeX. If you guys, they are still doing the welcome bonus. Let me see if this is in the announcements on the actual graphic. I don't think there's an expiration on this page. I don't know how long this is going. Tony, if you know the timing on this, if you can let us know, and let us know if you do, how many spots are here. We already got a bunch of signups here, so I don't know how many spots are left, but they are doing a welcome bonus. WeX, they are a new partner of the channel. I've been trading on it there for a month or two now. I really like it. It's nice, super fast, super easy to use, just like most exchanges. But go check it out. They're doing this awesome welcome bonus. Come to the free Discord if you want to get, or just screenshot this page if you want to read the bonuses. So if you're looking to get the best bang for your buck, go ahead and check that out. But with all that being said, that's all the time I got for today's live stream. I appreciate every single one of you for hanging out here till another late stream here, guys. 7:50. Again, this is like the new time that we're ending the streams. Why is my hat crooked here? I don't like this. I feel like a little kid. But the promo runs for 30 days. No limit on spots. Just get in within 30 days. Oh, shout out to Tony D. Let's go. Unlimited spots, baby. So go check that out. Don't miss it. You do have a decent amount of time, though. But with all that being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same place, same time, right here, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel. That's all I got. Asta Pasta. Mr. Cal says, hey, Frankie, had a stressful day just joining the stream. Shout out to Mr. Cal. Hey. I hope your day gets better, Mr. Cal. We're here for you. Scrub back to the beginning of the stream, and you'll see some paranormal activity that was happening in the stream. Hopefully that makes you feel better, gives you a little bit of a laugh. But I'll see you guys tomorrow. That's all I got. Asta Pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong!
Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late. Seen him down bad, now they tryna hate. Same ones try to hit me for the raise. Got a mail, now they coming with a blaze. Check the numbers, fam, I swear I'm getting paid. I'm a Don just like the Perrier. It's one time when I'm looking at a face. On the low like I'm pushing up the bass. Told him come down and I'll meet him at a gate. Got a check and I bought myself a place. They get some money and they blow it on bait. I don't flex but I'm pushing all the weight. Told them all I swear I got it's what it takes. Phone started jumping, what a day. Swear to God I need it, now I can't afford to wait. I just had a fan hit me up from Kuwait. Told him this would happen and we not a minute late.
Hey, who said it? Who said it? I think it was Perry. Shout out to Perry. Said I was short too on that big dump, Frankie, because of you. I don't know why I read that backwards. I was short too on that Bitcoin dump. On that BTC big dump because of you, Frankie. Thank you. Shout out to Perry. Gonna have to do a little money spread for our boy. I'm just kidding. We're gonna throw the money. Shout out to Perry. Let's go, baby. Bing bong. It's a sign, guys. It's a sign. I'll see you tomorrow. Asta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong. Come on, Stream Deck. You got this. You got this.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to